My video. I'll wait for that to start. It says waiting for Coffee&Chapters. Yes, I'm sorry. So we're live. We are live. Oh, there we go. Pause video. Okay, perfect. So I don't think anyone's here yet. No, no one's here.
I won't be able to open my other window to see who's talking or chatting, so you'll have to let me know, because if I do, it will lag my connection too much.
Yeah. Well, I tweeted out on our new Twitter account, which only has like 8 followers right now, so people are still. And then Goodreads didn't save any of the events I posted.
Oh.
So I went to check, and I'm like, I have no events. And then I clicked on past events because I thought it went to past.
Yeah.
And there's no past events either. I'm like,
strange.
Well, junk. Like, who's? No one knows I have a live show. We have a live show right now. So, yeah, that's why.
I didn't get a notification, so I'm assuming that it just didn't go.
It didn't. I hit save and stuff, and it was there. So I tweeted tagging Melanie and tagging you, so that whoever follows Melanie and you and me, and I retweeted it. Like, I was back and forth between Twitter accounts. I'm just like, I need people to see this. So we might not have anybody.
Well, hopefully we do. If not, that's okay. We'll just get this on the road and the show is started.
So, yeah, well, I guess you haven't read the book.
So I'll let you go ahead and give the synopsis or whatever you need to do for it. And then, because it's such a beautiful, okay, first off, I can definitely comment on the cover.
Like,
it is so
oh my goodness. Like, these covers are just so, like, I think they just get prettier every time. And I actually, okay, so I did some research because I was wondering what Waterfall Press is. And Amazon.com has its own publication companies, and Waterfall Press is the Christian publication company of that. I'm like, oh, cool. And like, I went to click on it to see what they publish and stuff, but it just takes you to what they have published. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they don't, you can't request to be published by them.
Oh.
Yeah, you can only, it's only through agents, and even they will request from you, I guess. It's a kind of a complicated thing. They only publish a certain amount, even though it's still through Amazon. They're very picky about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was wondering, like, because I noticed, like, oh, it's not Thomas Nelson that published these 3 books. So I'm wondering, oh, why did Melanie switch? But I don't know, I guess. I mean, she's still getting everything else published by that. So speaking of covers, did you guys see that the cover reveal for The Orphan's Wish?
I did.
Isn't that the prettiest cover?
Yeah, I was, you know what? I was like, I had this picture in my mind of what it kind of was going to be based off the story and different things. So when I saw like the reveal, I was like, that is something I never thought would be the cover. And I'm really interested now in the story based on her, like her outfit, the way she's looking, the whole environment.
That is such, like the model looks young, cute, like just, she looks like a real person and not like a book model. And I had, like, I knew it was supposed to be Aladdin-esque, like a retelling. I didn't actually know we have Middle East influences happening. I had no idea. Like, I didn't know the guy's name was actually going to be Aladdin, and I also didn't know that he's actually going to be from the Middle East. So I'm like, okay.
Well, you can see some of those elements in the picture, so I'm really excited to see like what the, I'm so happy. I know she was she tweeted out like with her edits and stuff, she was getting like really like downtrodden about them because she was like, they were obviously, it was hard on her, but I'm so looking forward to reading it. And that cover just speaks like of what's going to happen in the book.
I'm so excited.
I know.
And they moved the release date up to June instead of September.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm sure all of the Melanie Dickerson fans were just like, yes.
So it's definitely going to have to be on our June or July. Let's try for July so I get a book in.
I'm gonna just gift it to you and just be like, if I send it to you, maybe you'll get it.
If anybody doesn't know, I was tweeting out that I'm gonna pre-order the book. I was so excited to have it. I really wanted this book, like really bad. So I went to pre-order it, did it, got busy, and forgot to process the thing. So meanwhile, I'm waiting for the book and realize it's not coming. So I jump on Book Depository and I think I'll get it cheaper there. And then like I'll get my book. Lo and behold, 3 weeks later, I'm still waiting for a book and we've already read the book in our group. So I'm sitting here empty-handed, but lovely Angela, who articulates everything so great and so wonderful, she's going to explain the book.
All right, so let's talk about this lovely book. So this is the third book in the Regency Spies of London series, and this is one of Melanie's great, I call them rippling characters, where she kind of like carries on a character into the next books and kind of ripples them, is just what I've termed it as. So we're following Felicity Mason, who we met actually more so in the Viscount's proposal, but I forget who it was, and I'm very sorry. But one of my subscribers commented in my video that Felicity was actually in the first book as well, and that just made me think, man, I just need to like wait till a series is out and binge read a series, because I completely forgot. But she's right. Like she's Julia's friend that visits the home in the center with her. So now I want to read them all together in one shot so I can get like the whole full story. So we're following Felicity, who is a merchant's daughter. She's like what is she? She's got like 7 kids in her family. She's like a Melanie size family. So she's like, I think she's one of not the younger ones. I think she's the middle-ish one. So she doesn't have a dowry. She doesn't have a lot of promise. She's so used, and you even see a bit in the Viscount's proposal that, oh, there's love at first page. Hello. She's like, hello. Welcome, welcome. So we have Felicity, who, you know, in the Viscount's proposal, we see that she's used to being jilted. She's used to people saying, oh, she's got no fortune, and all these guys kind of turning up her nose. So she's just settling herself, you know, I'm just going to go be a missionary or something. I'm just so fed up with people treating me like this. She then gets this invitation from an estranged aunt who's not really even technically their aunt anymore, because the uncle is actually deceased. So, like, I don't know. And her mom's like, oh, this is a great idea. But it's in the middle of nowhere at this manor during peak season time where everybody's in London. So it's already kind of suspicious. So Felicity goes. And she hasn't read it yet either because of the.
Well, you're on the non-read party side here.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it spoiler free. But yeah. Well, libraries are so slow. Like I don't even request books anymore. If I badly need a book, I just But she's all cut Hagenheim horribly. But I'm all cut up on Hagenheim horribly out of order. Oh no.
Man.
I'm going to have to do a Melanie Dickerson overview video again.
Yes, you do. I have one. I was looking at it the other day, and it's well outdated now.
Yeah.
And so we definitely need an updated version of like the layout of the books and what order to read them in. Thankfully, I really like how she's separating these regencies. And the regencies actually, I think you even mentioned this too, but they are like my favorite.
Yes. And oh, Golden Braid, that was one of my favorites. But I like too that even with Melanie's, all of her series, you can read some of them individually. Like there might be some glimpse into the previous characters or couples, so you might get a bit of like, oh, that can happen. With the family tie-ins with the Hagenheim series, that's when it gets a little confusing and you're missing something because it's like this family that continues on.
Yeah.
So, but still at the same time, you can sort of read them as standalones, but then they all sort of connect. But her regencies, for some reason, like this one was no exception. I really enjoyed this one. I still think the Viscount's proposal was probably my favorite out of the 3, which is rare for a second book in a series.
You said it right.
I've been practicing. I'm like, I'm not saying it.
Viscount.
So Yeah, so that one was still my favorite, just with the banter and the relationship and the tension, and then the tension growing into worrying about each other's welfare and stuff. But with this one, there wasn't so much tension between the characters, but I really liked how she went from, you know, this person who's always being rejected and used to just kind of saying, whatever with this. And it kind of reminded me a bit of me, like, you know, being 30 years old, like having been turned down or like broken up with, and just being like, you know, I'm just done. We're just gonna, whatever.
Yeah.
But then just, you know, she's like, you know, I'm not, she had fantastic character developments from what we
So
see.
this is Felicity?
Yeah, this is Felicity.
So
So,
she was
like,
kind of like, okay, I'm done with being rejected and I'm moving on. I'm sketching out my own little path in life. And that's when she gets the invitation, right?
yeah. Oh, I feel like a cop out cheap because I never finished the Cinderella retelling. Aw, that one was good. I
That's
mean,
okay. It
that
kind
one wasn't my favorite either because it kept running away, getting captured, running away, getting captured, and I'm just like, stand still, woman.
of, yeah,
You
and I
will be
think
saved.
there are some people that really love Gabe and some people who really love Walton. And I'm the Gabe kind of person, but I still liked the character in
Yeah, we have a Gabe fan.
yeah.
Paris Beauty, I adored Gabe, Little Rapscallion. I like that word. That's a good word.
Yeah. So Felicity did now, it says A Dangerous Engagement. With the second book, it wasn't a lot of like you know, suspense and stuff like that. What about this one? Was this one like, did it have more suspense?
You have a lot more chances of being caught and a lot more chances of something not good happening,
Ooh.
and which really keeps you on your toes. And it's just like maybe wait or maybe don't, or like girl, chill, try not to be the hero, because like she's not alone in this. Because the back of the book that she meets government angel, well, he is, but government agent Philip McDowell, who is also Nicholas's friend from the first book.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you meet him as well, and you know if he's Nicholas's friend, that he's probably part of the same government agency.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked like I completely forgot until she's like, "Oh, you're Nicholas Langdon's friend." I'm like, "Oh, you're Nicholas Langdon's friend. Who knew?"
I love how she ties these characters together. It
I
makes
know.
me want to reread like everything.
Yeah, but yeah, so she meets him. So he's there under a different name of, which was like one of my favorite names is Merrick, and his code name is Mr. Merrick. And I'm like, why does this have to be your code name? Like, what?
That's cool.
Yeah, like, oh, I was just like, I love that name. But yeah, so eventually, like, he's there too. And she does go with her aunt. So they do send her with a proper chaperone and everything. And her aunt, oh my gosh, her aunt was so adorable. And she's definitely like this introverted person who would prefer to be reading a book during a social event, and who is like 25, so already considered like a spinster, old maid. And she was living with her sister's family because obviously she didn't get married. And her character development and what happens to her is almost one of my favorite parts of the book. I was just like, oh
Really?
gosh, it was so minor, but it was so perfect. And I
It's
was
interesting
like,
that you say that because when I first read the synopsis, I almost pictured the aunt as actually being a part of a sinister plot. Did anybody else feel that way when they read it?
the aunt, no, like I mean, at first, for the first couple minutes, you're just like, huh, is she part of something? And then like the next chapter, you're like, no.
Okay. Yeah, because when I first read the synopsis, I thought maybe this aunt has a part of this, you know, dangerous engagement or whatever.
Have
What,
you read Jen Turano?
Jan Turano? Okay, so I seen that Lindsay has read her, but I have never read her, although there's one book that I kind of wanted to read because it got really good reviews on Goodreads.
Yeah. So she's a popular Regency writer for Christian fiction.
Yeah.
And it's super humorous and stuff. Yeah, so love it first page. You know, guys, with your usernames, like I know who you are, but when I only see your usernames, like I'm sorry, I know you're watching. I completely am blanking on your name, and I know we have a couple of Megans and a couple of Olivias, I think. So love it first page. I'm just trying to remember.
What is she saying there? Is she asking us to read that book, or is she saying it's just a suggestion for our
Oh no, it's this in the vein of
yeah.
Toronto, and unfortunately, like we just said, neither of us have read. I have a weird love-hate relationship with Christian fiction. If this sounds like, I just read one book that's an adult Christian fiction, and I DNF'd it. Haley, I knew that. So, I just read one Christian fiction book that I was sent for review from Bethany House Nuts About Books, and I DNF'd it because
What was it?
Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. It was High as the Heavens.
Oh, I just watched your video on that.
Yeah, like
TBR. So you DNF that one, hey?
Yeah, because it was so boring, and it was.
I never read it, so I didn't know. I don't know.
It was getting into. It's a World War I, so I don't know the history behind it. It's getting into this like, oh, I can't tell him what I've been, because this husband and wife are separated for 3 years, thinking each other has died, and they keep going into this. Okay. She keeps talking about like, oh, I can't tell him everything I've been through because I don't know if he'll forgive me. And he keeps telling her about grace and forgiveness and we need to start over. But then he's lying to her about wanting to get her out of Brussels. Where are they? Yeah, Brussels. And then she's holding everything. And I'm like, if you married and loved this man and committed your life in a Christian relationship,
you should.
Finding him again, he would be the one person I would want to spill everything to.
Yeah.
And want to get all of this off on my chest. So I was just getting so done with the not telling each other everything trope and no climax and no reason for me to keep reading because there's nothing that they have planned happening that is drawing me to keep reading. So I DNF'd it. And then
there's some really good Christian fiction out there, like, and I love that. There is some others that you have to be very picky with, and you know, you get to know what authors you really love. Jan Turano, though, having Lindsay, her opinion on it, I actually think I was gonna try it because I've never read it, but it seems like maybe it was just more of like an more of a, you know, a romance, and just romance to me just isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, if it's dealing with just people and romance and there's no like real plot other than that, like if the plot is romance and plot is relationship, then I lose interest very quickly. But with Melanie Dickerson books, you get plot, relationship, character arcs, you get everything really. And I love that.
The whole time I'm reading this hoping that nothing happens to each characters. And then the things that do happen, I'm like, okay, they got to get out of it. And like, I'm one of those people that if something is building up to something that's going to happen, I'll read ahead and I'll be like, does it happen? I'm like, oh no, it doesn't happen. Good. Like, and then I don't have to stress about it. It's kind of like a cheat thing. And I could just read ahead.
You did say that in your book Confessions. So
yeah,
I gotta do that still.
Yeah, so Haley was saying with Kate, that, see, For Such a Time, I didn't realize this was the same author. There's a book, For Such a Time. It's supposed to be, I think, for like an Esther-ish retelling during World War II.
Cool.
And Haley DNF'd it due to content, and I could see stuff in this book.
I did see Goodreads accounts mention it with that book, and that's kind of why I haven't picked it up. Even though it did have some good reviews, it kind of, then some people started giving reviews that were more detailed like that.
Yeah.
And I backed off of it, but it looked like a great read. World War I, World War II isn't necessarily the books I go to first for historical fiction at all.
Yeah.
So,
and this one had the wedding night build up, and I just kept like fast forwarding 30 seconds because I'm like, I'm single. I don't need to know what goes on intimately between a husband
Oh,
and wife.
yeah.
Like, if you're a married woman and you want to read that, but then even to me as a married woman, you're reading someone else's.
Yeah.
And
There's Love Story I just did a review on. It's by Karen Kingsbury, and definitely avoid that one if you're yeah, regarding that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's
yeah,
just kind of like, whoa. And then I was like, right away, I'm like, high rate restriction, you know, like
yeah.
it's just a bit too detailed there.
But people are like, oh, but they're adult Christian fictions, and I'm like, I
It
don't
is adult
care.
Christian fiction, yeah. Still, I personally, I'm married and I don't need to.
Yeah, I can.
I don't want to participate in that. I'd like to rather just think of my own. Yeah, it's just not, no. So,
But I did recently. So I said I had a love-hate relationship with Christian adult fiction mainly, and so like the hate, like just slow down to some of the tropes. Everything works out well, or they just, everything's always perfect or something. And I just recently read The Butterfly and the Violin, which Haley apparently has been pushing everybody to read, and I loved it. I mean, there's some elements I didn't like.
it's been on my radar.
Yeah, I mean, like the modern day couple, I was like, whoa, 48 hours. Okay, guys, like, like I'll talk
So
about it in,
Haley read that one too, hey?
yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's interesting. I've been wanting to read it for the last year, and I just haven't had a chance to pick it up, and I haven't read from her before. And of course, we get in other authors that we like, and then I wasn't sure about it.
It was so good because it was clean.
Good.
Like, for World War II, there's no, like, it's a group of women, but nothing happens to them, sexual abuse or assault or anything in Auschwitz. And then, like, just the romance is all very pure, clean. Even between, like, there's a modern day couple and then the World War II era couple. And like the modern day couple, it was just like, okay, guys, like, chill. Like, it's only been 48 hours. Do you really need to be asking her these questions? And like her falling for you already. Like, it was pretty fast paced, but I liked how they slowed it down at the end. And but yeah, so like I have a love-hate relationship. But like with Melanie Dickerson, going back to what we're actually talking about, with like I don't read a lot of Regency in any other genre of Christian YA or Christian fiction, except for Melanie's YA Regencies, because of her character development, because of her plot development, and like Haley said, there's the backgrounds of all the dastardly plots in Hagenheim, and well, hold on, I gotta read this before.
You want to read it out, and then I can hear it too.
Hold on. Don't like her writing. Oh, okay. So, are you talking about Kate Haley? I can't first line because, like, apparently in For Such a Time, there's a particular circumstance. There's a background of busting a prostitution ring. No graphic details though. Yeah. Oh, the Jen Toronto at that point. Okay, yeah. So yeah, with Melanie's, like, they're clean, they're pure, but at the same time they're not sheltered. Like there's
Yeah.
there's a fine line between being a sheltered book where you're like, okay, this is way too perfection. And then
Like we get like in her books, like there's tons of different stuff, even to dealing with sexual stuff. Like one of her characters was like being hawked and stalked by this like creepy, yucky guy. It was really dark. Not in this book, of course. It was in the Hangenheim series. And she was like being promoted to go marry him, and it was just like really, and he was a kind of a lust bucket kind of guy. But it wasn't overly explicit. You get the feel of what this person was about and what he wanted to do, but you don't ever hear her explaining it in detail or seeing it happen. And I just feel like it's such a clean and really good read. So did you find that in this book with A Dangerous Engagement, did you find that that was the same case? Like, was there plots similar to that? Was it kind of mysterious in that sort of way, or who was the antagonist?
There is one guy in here because it is called A Dangerous Engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So an engagement does happen. So there is one guy in here that he doesn't. She keeps trying to pretend to be, well, not she is, but she keeps pushing that she, like that author that was mentioned in the Viscount's proposal, the, can't remember the name, that female author that they both liked. But anyway, she keeps mentioning Hannah More. So she keeps mentioning Hannah Moore's ethic.
Oh, yes,
stuff.
Yes, I do remember that now.
Couples shouldn't be alone and stuff.
Yes.
But she keeps having to play this infatuated character. So a lot of the time she's like, Lord, I have to keep kissing this guy who I don't love. I'm deceiving him, and then I'm letting pieces of myself go, and like nothing goes farther because the guy hints that he wants it to, but she keeps insisting that they don't kiss when people are around and stuff, or be off by themselves. So she keeps trying to keep herself safe.
Yeah.
But and then at the same time, she's still kind of wrestling with like, Lord, I've given so much. Like, even if it's just kisses, she was like, Lord, I've given so much of myself to this guy in the sake of keeping myself safe.
Yes.
And
I appreciate that. That's really wonderful, actually, to hear. And I can't wait to read this book.
All of the characters had great development. The story kind of progresses from, so like, turbulent. This was very turbulent times in English historical fiction that Melanie mentions in her notes in the back. So this was like during Napoleon's reign and stuff, and there's war going on in France, and then an uprising of people wanting to throw the regency off in England and kind of do what France did and have a revolution.
Right.
So like you have all of that build up kind of starts in the first book with like
with the secret, the kind of like rebellious sort of plots.
Yeah, with Julia's uncle and stuff.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah. Yes. So that kind of starts off. It kind of is very background in this one, but then gets kind of pulled back up for this one. And of course, Felicity realizes that so many people are in danger. Like Nicholas is in danger because he's connected to that, which will make Julia in danger. People are wanting to revolt against the government, which means Viscount. Hold on. Withing Hall? Having a lisp but makes talking so bad. But Withing Hall.
You don't have a lisp.
I have a bit of one. I grew up with one.
You'd never ever know. I didn't know.
The name Judith takes me a lot of effort to say.
To like focus on like every like syllable.
Yeah, if I wasn't focusing on saying Judith, I would not be able to say it.
Interesting.
But yeah, so like, Felicity's realizing that like definitely her friends are in danger. Nicholas is in danger, Julia's in danger, and she's like, so much is riding on her in this book, and she's like, and she Melanie mentioned on her Facebook that Felicity has a bit of a fainting spell, and of course a lot of people back then treat it as like being a weak female and just fainting. But Melanie mentioned that her daughter and her both have these fainting spells under severe stress, and it's actually a condition.
Oh, interesting. You know what also is another thing, that in the 1800s, they were building houses with gas. They started putting gas in there.
Yeah.
And so with the tightening of the clothes, and they're not getting enough oxygen, and then with gas actually being in the houses, women being in the houses often would pass out. That's another reason too. Anyways, little history note. Something I could contribute. But anyway, so overall, so who's all the characters, and then overall, like, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so we have Lady Blackstone, who's really the ringleader of everything that's happening to everybody. Then we have Felicity, and we have Philip, who her men that she writes.
I
This one's
know.
good. This one's good. Um, so, and of course, he didn't intend to have innocent people there. So he's trying to do his job and keep.
Oh, really? Oh
Time.
no, the poor
And so
guy.
he's just like, oh my lord, I thought she was part of this. I was hoping she wasn't part of this because she's Julia's friend. And then when he finds out she's not part, he's just like,
Oh.
so like, there's a priest that kind of comes toward the end of the book who is like a very dear, sweet character. He kind of reminds me of, and I'm blanking on his name, but the priest guy's name from Pride and Prejudice that wants to marry Elizabeth. This annoying little guy that everybody
Yeah,
wants to
yeah.
marry. But
Oh, yes, I do remember that guy. Hold
yeah,
on.
but
Uh,
a less
he's a
annoying,
very bad representation of Christian pastoralship.
a less annoying version of him. Meet this little priest guy, and he's like probably a better example of pastoral leadership there.
Oh
So,
my goodness, I need to read this book.
so
I
think
need
like the timid little guy, and yeah, think of this timid little guy, and he is a less annoying than the other guy. But anyway, so you meet him, and then there's, I can't remember. Oh, Mr. Ratley.
So, okay, let's go back to this little priest though. Now, in Pride and Prejudice, in the end, he does end up getting married and, he's kind of happy. And, there's even a point where he's like trying to show them the garden and, he's quite happy with his little life and his little wife. And, it kind of works out in the end for him. Is that the case in this situation?
That would be a spoiler, Melanie.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Let's move on.
You end up liking
on.
him. You really do end up liking him.
In the end?
You have Felicity, her aunt, and her aunt reads a lot of books. So she's, of course, reading Jane Austen's books at these times.
Oh,
And so she's like,
cool. But they're anonymous at that time.
yeah, so she's reading Jane Austen's books, which I think Melanie made anonymous for the understanding of what she's reading.
I think everybody at that time kind of knew that it was done by a female. Maybe not who did it, but they definitely knew of that,
So Haley wants to know, is this more like Melanie's super stoic, handsome men, or more like Gabe and mischievous? I can't remember Gabe. Like, I want to reread the Hagenheim books all in one shot.
Gabe is like, in his character arc, he's quite like a kid, and he grows in maturity. He kind of wants to be like, best up his brother. He's got,
Is he the Sleeping Beauty guy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I did like him. Okay. But I liked.
No. Snow White.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Snow White.
Yeah, I think that's what I thought. I knew you meant that, but I heard the words after and I realized
we're reading each other's.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah, he's super mischievous and silly, and then just grew up. Yes, so yeah. I'm trying to remember him. Philip isn't like that because like he knows he's there for a job. He knows he's there.
Like Wilhelm? Willem and Rose, right? Very like.
I wish I could remember these guys. I can't.
I'm the way you're kind of. I'm picturing Sir Wilhelm, and maybe even Garrick. Am I right?
He's less stoic than Garrick.
Okay.
He's got a duty. Like he knows he's there to kind of flesh out what's really happening. What are these people actually up to? Is just a party? But like I said, it's peak season in London. But they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Why? So he's kind of following this up, and he's there for a job. And then he sees Felicity, and he's like, why are you here? Are you part of this? And, he puts on a good show. I think he has really sweet and nice and fun moments. He's not as stoic as some guys. He's like a good mix of them. He's there to do his
Hmm.
job. He is but he doesn't want Felicity to be the hero, but he allows her to help him. And then he's constantly telling her, I know you don't think you're courageous, but you're actually very courageous doing this. And he's very much an enabler of Felicity's character growth and very much an encourager into the right direction of what a guy should encourage a girl.
Very cool. I can't wait to read this. Like, I'm just getting so much more excited as we're talking.
Gabe and Garrick, yeah, she liked Gabe and Garrick the best out of the male characters, and Magdalene and Rapunzel out of the women.
Yes.
I liked Rapunzel, and I can't remember. Hold on.
I loved Rapunzel. I really liked her a lot, actually.
Oh, I can't remember characters. Oh yeah, Magdalene. Now I know.
Magdalene is the Frog Prince one. She's really funny.
No, that's Mark. Magdalene is the noble servant.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not by my book, so I can't run and find it. Is it the noble servant or is she the Frog Prince? I'm thinking she's the Frog Prince.
Margaret.
Oh, Margaretha. She's hilarious. I love her too.
I adored her.
She's such a gabbermouth like me.
And Magdalene is
yeah, she is a sweet character. I really liked her too. I don't know, I like them all.
That's something about Melanie's characters is you'll always find. Oh, you meant the Frog Prince girl. Yeah. So
she's hilarious.
The thing with Melanie's characters is you will always find a girl that reminds you of yourself a bit. Yeah. Which I really like. Like I said, Felicity, she's getting to the point where she's just tired of it. And she's just like, well, whatever God wants to do with my life, I'm just going to do this. Like she was ready to just dedicate her life to serving God and just being like, whatever. And then he brings.
Is this the sorry to interrupt you, I'm really sorry, but is this the plot where she wants to be a nun or like go into the monastery?
No, that's somebody else. No, she actually wanted to be a missionary.
Oh, a missionary. Okay, yeah, I'm on the same page as you now.
So she's like, I'm just ready to just be a missionary and serve God. And it's already unheard of for a woman to have an occupation by themselves. And then people think, that's kind of stupid. You're not brave enough to go to China. Even her brothers are saying, like, girl, you faint. Like, you're not going to go to China and be a missionary wherever she wanted to go. And, and that reminded me of me. It's like I say things and people are like, yeah, I know you're not going to do it. Or like, I'm just fed up. I'm just going to go and do whatever. And, I really like that about her. And her aunt also reminded me a bit of myself too. Even being considered a spinster in that day and age. And I'm already like, in this day and age. So having that, like, what, I'm tired of hiding in my books and like just seeing her aunt's progression of character growth as well was just like just an itty bitty side character.
So her aunt was 25?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, there's two aunts. I forgot. There's that estranged aunt, Lady Black.
Yeah. So she's older, because I was like thinking she's already a widow, isn't she? But so you're right. So there's two different aunts then. So one is the one she gets the invitation from.
Yeah, and then
the other one.
And Agnes is the one that goes with her as a chaperone.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I completely forgot there's two aunts because I guess Lady
That's okay.
Technically was an aunt, but yeah, so like you can find a girl, and then there's different types of guys. Like you have damaged, broken guys like the Margrave of Thornbeck and the Lord Ranulph in The Merchant's Daughter. So you have these guys who are flawed and who need grace, and then you have these guys who are foolish and stupid and then grow up, and then you have these great guys who need some humbling but are still really good guys. Like you have great characters.
Sorry, my son wants to get in the picture. I don't like them to be on on live shows. I'm gonna let you go because they're all kind of sneaking down here and seeing what I'm doing here. So
Oh, I guess we need to wrap it up though.
yes, I'm so sorry. Do you want to give me your final thoughts?
Yeah, so 5 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but it was still
5
really
stars.
good. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite, but it's still really good. So 5 stars because Philip, yes. And the character development for all of these characters were probably the best out of the 3 because the characters have gone through so much.
And the spiritual content too, or?
Sorry?
And the spiritual content?
Spiritual content was great because you had a lot of Felicity just.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening.
You had a lot of Felicity just like, Lord, I'm deceiving people. Lord, I'm giving parts of myself to this guy I don't love. Like, you know, and then Philip as well is just like, I need your help because obviously I got to protect someone who's innocent and at the same time save my country kind of deal.
Yeah. So
yeah.
there is spiritual content that's good and you can relate to.
Yeah. And yeah, I was hoping to talk about NaNoWriMo a bit.
Yes, I know. Here, Austin, go upstairs, okay? Okay, go ahead.
All right, so yeah, so I know a lot of people really enjoyed this. We had some conversation with people in the book club, and we are currently reading Reintegration. And did you get your book?
Yes, I have it, and I love it so far.
I really, really, really enjoy, like, one thing I want to mention quickly about this book is a lot of people say with dystopians that Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale is something that could actually happen. And I think that's a load of junk. Like, I really don't think there's any way that anything is going to come into a ruling effect that uses the Bible, even in a first way. I don't think that's going to happen. However, this is almost where the world is even going.
Oh, interesting. I haven't got that far into it, so.
It's called the Tolerance Act. And it's even, like, you cannot say that someone is wrong, and you cannot say that somebody is right.
Interesting.
So it's very much a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, this could be the dystopian that becomes the most realistic.
That's very interesting. I can't wait to read more of it. I'm in it already, about like the first 2 chapters. And so yeah, it's just kind of dealing with the first part of it. Yeah, it's right here. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you got that one.
Me too.
It's really good so far. I hope a lot of people pick it up because it was just, like, if you liked Anomaly, you need to read this book. And also with our announcement, whoever watches, Haley's watching this now, but if anyone wants to who joins us and watches later, we do have a Twitter account and a Instagram account. There's not a lot on the Instagram account right now, but the Twitter account.
I took some pictures, so we're gonna get some. I've got to just fix them up to send them to you.
I need to send you the account so you can.
Yes, exactly.
So we do have those accounts. They are linked down below in this video, so you guys can follow. Twitter will be the best place to go since Goodreads isn't saving my events. Twitter is the best place to go for the live show updates and everything. So if you guys want to do that, and also we had a lot of positive. Hi. We had a lot of positive.
Hey guys. I'm gonna let you finish up.
Yeah, we had a lot of.
You'll still be live, and I will let you finish up. Okay.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye. So, guys, we had a lot of really positive feedback from you guys who really enjoyed the idea of doing NaNoWriMo. And I did mention in that video the reason we wanted to do NaNoWriMo is, like, Melanie is a self-published author. Ashley, who we're reading right now, is a self-published indie author. And, of course, we read Joanna's books. And I've just been noticing, even browsing for books for Christian YA, Melanie, and have had a lot of struggle of getting books picked out for you guys. So we wanted to focus on the writing of it and what we want seen in Christian YA. And a lot more of you guys responded than I thought was going to happen. So I'm really excited to see that. You guys can still read Renegades by Thomas Locke if you want to. The discussion page is still up for that. But we will not be focusing on that. But if you guys want to join us for the live show in November, at the end of November, That's going to be all about NaNoWriMo. So if you guys are authors or have works in progress, or even if you're just a reader, we still want your feedback in that discussion group to hear what you guys want from Christian YA in the future. So that's really all we have to talk about in this live show. Yeah, there was a bit of a kerfuffle there with Melanie's end with her family, so sorry about that, guys. But I mean, even though she wants, like, trying to keep her kids safe, but her kids are quite adorable. But yeah, so I'm really glad. Thank you, Haley, for joining us for the live part of the live show. It was really nice to see your comments and stuff. And I know I didn't get to everything that you mentioned, but yes, I did really like the Butterfly and the Violin and Butterflies. I'm sorry, whatever that one is by Christy Cameron. I really enjoyed that. So what else I can say? Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining us for the Dangerous Engagement live show. We will announce the reintegration live show. It's going to be toward the end of October, beginning of November, before we kick off NaNoWriMo. So this is live show. Stay tuned for that. Like I said, follow the Twitter account for all the live show dates and stuff. With Melanie's and mine's schedule, I know these get scheduled very short notice, and we try not to. But if you follow that Twitter account, you'll find that out as soon as you can. So I hope you guys are reading this. Like, seriously, if you liked Anomaly by Krista McGee, you will probably very thoroughly enjoy this, because I'm halfway through and I'm loving this. Like, I'd put it on the same level as Krista McGee's Anomaly. So if you guys like that, you need to pick this book up. So that's it today for our live show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I know, like, due to Melanie's book void mailing area, I just feel so bad for her. Due to that, I know it wasn't our normal live show and we couldn't really go into discussion, but I know a few of you guys haven't read this book yet. But if you have and you do leave comments down below, remember to keep it spoiler free, and you can always gush about it as spoiler free as we can together. And we're looking forward to Melanie's next book, which thankfully the release date got moved up. So anyway, thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Follow the Twitter account for the dates. Bye.